Hello, all. Thank you for joining us again on the Almost Brothers podcast. Hey, will you do us a favor? If this podcast has meant something to you and encouraged you, will you consider becoming a monthly supporter? You could do $3, $5, $8, or $10 a month. What this does is this helps financially support the podcast so that we can continue to put out content and help better serve you. So if you would, down in the show notes, you can click the link, support, and become a monthly member. We love you. New episode coming your way. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Almost Brothers podcast. On today's episode, what Jeremiah thinks we're going to talk about is not at all anything what we're going to talk about, because I got a surprise for him, and he has no idea. Coming up. What's up? What's up? How's things going?
Very good. Very good. Wow. Is this a surprise?
This is the surprise. What are you?
Wow. How you guys doing?
How's it going?
That's an awesome surprise.
It's a pretty awesome surprise.
Yes.
Oh,
I need to jump up and give him a hug, man.
Yep.
It's my dude.
This is why I was trying to rush and get started. You want to sit here and have a 30-minute conversation.
Right.
Lord have mercy. But yeah, how's it going?
Hey, it's good to see you guys today. Big surprise.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Jeremy Cromer. I'm 43. I'm from outside of Atlanta, Georgia, and you know, God placed some really good people in my life, you know, through relationships. And we were just talking about that pastor the other day, and he was talking about how important relationships were in this season.
Yeah.
And it's been pretty amazing, you know, people that God have put in my life, and Jeremiah being one of them. It's been 5.5 years now since I met Jeremiah.
Yeah. Yep.
And I've seen the Lord do some powerful things in his life, and Lord's done some powerful things in my life as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah. So we're just gonna go ahead and get started, man. So so this has been how long y'all been friends?
5.5 years.
Yep.
5.5 years.
I met him. I met him in March of 2015.
Right.
Nice.
Yep.
How was the first impression?
Well, I just always liked Jeremiah. He's easy to like,
right.
And he and I worked together the entire time that I met him in Cape, and you know, he's just easy people to gravitate towards.
Yeah.
You know?
It's pretty. That's kind of the same with me. You know, getting to know him, and he kind of started coming around for a while, and I didn't really know him and Missy, and I just kind of seen him from afar. But then once we started to get to know him, it was like, oh man, these are some awesome people, man.
Yes, they are.
Get to know
Missy as well.
Yeah,
Missy as well.
She's all right.
Yeah, I'm okay. Missy's dynamite.
Right. She brings your average up. You're like 58, but her 92.
I'm mediocre at best without her.
At best.
At best.
That's bringing you up. But yeah, so y'all met at was it at Teen Challenge where y'all met?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So were both of y'all in the program?
Yeah,
Yes.
we were both students there together.
Yep. We worked on the construction crew together.
Yep.
Okay. And that's something that you do as a student going through, right?
Yeah, it's it used to be one of the job details.
Yeah, it's part of the work program there.
Okay. Okay, nice. So y'all worked it, and that's where you really get to know people is if you're working with them, like you know the ins and outs of them, and
6 days a week,
yeah,
10 hours a day.
Oh yeah,
yep. You want to be stuck with somebody who has a little know-how,
that's exactly,
and a little drive,
a little work ethic.
Yeah, that and someone who doesn't get so frustrated and gets thrown off a ledge so quickly. I know with me, if people playing ball with me, looking from the outside, a lot of people go, "Oh man, he's kind of intense," but it's just how I am. But if you get to know me, in that atmosphere, okay, So I bet Jeremiah could probably get an attitude when he gets a little upset.
Maybe.
I've probably been known to a couple times.
Yeah.
I think that's part of doing things. When you work with your hands every day, sometimes, you just want to, throw a wrench at someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't always go as planned.
Oh yeah. Yep. So give us a good story of y'all two together that you can think of off the top of your head, whether it's something that was just something like really powerful or something that was just funny, just a funny time.
Oh man,
something that happened.
I don't even know where to start with that. Because Jeremy and I hung out after we finished Teen Challenge. He moved to St. Louis and was working up there, and I moved back home to the lake, and so we kind of hung out outside the program a little bit together. And he'd come down and hang out at my mom's with me and stuff, and my family took him right in. You know what I mean? He was just like one of the kids, and we hung out a lot. And man, I don't know that we did anything that we weren't laughing and having fun,
Yeah.
To narrow that down, man, that's difficult.
Yeah, all the time.
Do you have anything that stands out? I mean,
oh man. I mean, we always have a great time.
Always.
I mean, all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing between he and I. I like to laugh. I like to smile. I got a lot of joy, as does Jeremiah, and that's why I gravitated towards him, and we clicked so well. From the very beginning. There's not a lot of people like that you come in contact with in your life that you become instant friends, and and then from there it grew to a little bit over a year ago. He asked me to be a part of him and his wife's wedding, him and Missy, and I was able to take part in that with Mike Vipperman and his family, and I was very honored to have had the opportunity to be able to serve as his best man. That meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
Meant a lot to me.
Well, you're lucky you got to do that at that time, because now I probably would have taken that.
Wow.
You'd have been an usher or something.
Oh man.
I'm
That's
just
awesome.
kidding.
That's
Just
awesome.
kidding. Or am I?
Man, so what brings you down here today, man? How did this all happen?
Well, I got a phone call let's see, maybe Friday or Saturday.
Did you know about this when I just talked to you?
Actually, it was really weird because Mike and I had talked, and we were trying to keep it hush. And then all of a sudden you called, and when I saw your number come up on my phone, I thought, does Jeremiah know?
No.
And then when I kind of felt you out, and then it went as far as to late in the evening yesterday before I knew that I could come. And
cool.
I was very excited to take the trip up and see you guys today, both of y'all. You know,
Awesome.
see what you guys are doing, because I've been following y'all.
Oh yeah,
I've been following y'all.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's been fun, man. It's been so fun.
Yeah.
I'm just excited just getting to do this with them. It's an exciting time. And we just found out that there's a men's conference going on in Malden from another church, Voices Zion, and they're going to put our show and kind of get our name out there on their bulletin board as the men's conference is going on. So
That's pretty
it's
awesome.
a huge blessing. So the next episode, we're going to have some of those guys on and talk to them about the men's conference coming up. So
That's awesome.
yeah, we're excited, man. But yeah, I got a hold of them, and I was like, look, Jeremiah's either going to be really early or he's going to be late. He's never on time. It's never on time. So
That's what happens when you have kids, right?
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, I got to be honest. Like, I just went home today and it was so hot outside. I sat down and was watching some TV and I just fell asleep. I mean, I was out. Like, I woke up like drooling and snoring, and I mean, it wasn't like a little cat nap. Like, I went into a coma, and it was like 3:00, and I was like, oh no, I got to get up there now.
I said, are you on your way? He said,
I am now.
I was thinking of all days. I hope he shows up.
Yeah.
I just made this drive. He has no idea. He would feel so bad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then 3 o'clock, it was like 3:05. I'm like, let me. And then he texts me, and he was like, "Hey, is he running late?" I was like, "You know he is." It's like, let me text him.
I'm not normally, well, like you said, I'm either
early or
really early or I'm going to be late.
Yeah, like, hey, let's record at 3. He shows up at 12:30. I'm like, well, I've got other stuff I've got to do.
That'll make up for the times he's
Right.
behind.
That's
right.
Equal out. That's right. So the law of averages.
All in all, I'm on time.
Exactly. This episode brought to you by averages. But yeah, so it was cool to get to do that, and I called Missy this morning and let her know that this was happening, so she was in on it.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
Just totally in the dark.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool. It's a pleasant surprise, man. Man, I love seeing this dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
Jeremiah came up for a chapel a couple of weeks ago and visited, and that's the first time he had been up since
Been a while.
November or December.
Yeah.
And we did an addition on one of the main offices, and he came up and did some flooring and helped us out with the project. And due to COVID, and it kind of pushed us off being able to. Back in March, I went home and picked my son up from Atlanta and brought him back, and he spent 9 days with me. And I had every intention of getting up here, and with just restrictions and guidelines, it enabled me the opportunity to be able to come up and introduce everybody. And then, I was very thankful for another opportunity for his birthday, the end of May.
Yeah.
I went to Atlanta and picked him up, and he came back and spent 8 or 9 days with me. And I've always wanted Jeremiah to meet Decker because, like through Facebook and through friends, you always feel like you know somebody's family and know who they are. And, I didn't know if I was going to have another opportunity to have my son here. And when he came up for his birthday, I'd made a day where he and I came up and hung out with Jeremiah, Missy, and Ben and Max, and we just grilled out and caught up on times, and it's a lot of people's relationships right now are being affected by this, and we don't have as much face-to-face time as we once had, and I miss that. I don't like to stay in contact through text or through phone calls. I'm a guy that's personal. I want to see you in person. And this guy right here, I mean, we've never been the texting type. We've been the hanging out type.
So how old is Decker?
Yeah, Decker, he just turned 8 years old in May.
Oh, man.
And he just started school Monday of last week. So he's been in school for a week. Nice. And, he's taken him a little time to get back into the swing of things. They've been out of school since March. And Mom was very excited school was opening back up.
Absolutely. I cannot wait.
As all parents are.
I say that, but I'll be back in school too. I'm like, oh man, I got to go back to school too. Hold up a second. But yeah. So it's how was travel? Was there kind of any restrictions or anything like that with the travel from here?
Not really. I mean, I take I-24 across Tennessee. And the travel was pretty smooth, to be honest with you. There were times like in March, it was a little desolate. That interstate going back and forth. You could tell that there was a lot less people on the road. Now when I went back in May, it had picked up tremendously. But Atlanta is always busy.
Yeah. I know. I had a buddy that was going up to New York to see his family and got stopped at the can't.
That's what they
turned back around.
That's what they were doing in Florida too. At one point when all the New York and everybody flies south for the winter and trying to get away, and that's what they were doing. They just wanted to ensure everybody was going to be safe, and that's all we've tried to do. Just to safeguard everybody as much as possible, and just do as we've been asked, and we've been very blessed. We got guys covering on the entire ministry at Teen Challenge, and Jeremiah can attest to that also. When you're there, there's an anointing and a covering that you can't even explain unless you unless you experience it yourself from both sides, you know, not only from a student's perspective, but from a staff standpoint.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing place. You know, I walked out of there October of 2016 when I left the first time, and I absolutely had no purpose, you know, and I never thought I would say that leaving, because it was an immense amount of, you know, just pressure taken off of you, because it's ministries go, go, go.
Yeah.
And I was afforded the opportunity to be able to come back, and it's a new season, and I've withstood some trials and, you know, some ups and downs, and a lot of learning this season.
Yeah.
A lot of teaching, and I'm very thankful for what God's doing in my life right now, especially with the restoration with my son. You know, it's been absolutely amazing.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. You have any questions for him? Because I've got a bunch.
You got a bunch of questions.
Oh yeah.
Well, I was just going to piggyback off what he was talking about, you know, being in ministry there, because I worked there for about 11 months. And, you know, there's a lot of spiritual attack that you come under, and just the work itself isn't really that painstaking. It's just everything that goes along with it mentally, and, you know, it'll just drain you, and it'll stretch you, and it'll pull things out of you that you didn't even really know that you had. You know, to take you to a level that you didn't know you could reach. And it's unlike any other thing I've ever been a part of, but it's in such a good way. Yeah. You know, because I mean, I miss the guys up there so much, being able to just, you know, pop in their room and ask them how they're doing, you know, check up on them, out, you know, how their family are, how their kids are, you know, and just that, you know, there's a discipleship that goes along with that you don't find that I haven't found anywhere else.
Yeah,
you know,
you're right.
And I think when you get removed from that, man, for me, I miss that more than anything.
Yeah.
And it was awesome.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Is it's kind of like going from, you know, you go from high school and you're playing ball, and you spend all this time, and it's even more at Teen Challenge. You know, you spend all this time with your buddies, and you get removed from that, and it's like, oh man, I'm like, I just miss hanging out with the guys. Yeah. Like, you love people in your life and your family and your wife, but it's like, man, I miss my buddies, you know, and miss spending that time. That's what I was going to ask y'all, how has that affected you, and how has that transition from spending pretty much every waking moment with each other to, you know, once a month, if that, seeing each other?
It's tough, you know, and you have that relationship with a lot of the guys. You know, you're there with everyone 24/7, and you know that season is 10 months, and when you look at it in perspective, 10 months goes really fast. Yeah. And you know, I got the honor of being able to do a little bit of an extended program.
Me too.
You know, sometimes it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, and it took me a little bit of time. And I'll tell you what my turning point was at Teen Challenge. I've looked back at it so many times. And I was worshiping one day in a service, and I'd always been reluctant to raise my hands and worship and just really let go. Worship is a very important time for me. I'm a very emotional person, just from the standpoint of, I know what I got brought out of. And I know what I got delivered from, and worship is different for me. You know, there may be some other guys, but one day I raised my hands in worship, and it was from that day on, everything changed. And I was a believer. I'd already seen God move, but when I got to that point, I can pinpoint that time right there, as that was a turning point in my time at Teen Challenge and Cape. And you know, God's done some powerful things, not only in my life, you know, but I mean, if you let Him work, if you let Him work and have faith, there's things I was praying about 6 years ago. September next month will make 6 years since I began my journey. And I'm beginning to see prayers answered now that I was praying about in September of 2014.
Yeah.
You know, and one of which was, you know, the want and the desire for my son's mother, you know, to become sober. And, you know, that reality came true in January 2019, the start of the new year. I was involved in a Daniel fast, and I had never done a Daniel fast at Teen Challenge. And we do it right at the first of the month to the end. And I'll tell you, I'll never forget January 6th to the 27th. I had so many things happen in my life. And, you know, Pastor always say, you know, with a Daniel fast, you're praying for all the first in the beginning of that year. And then it really sets the tone for the rest of the year.
Right.
But I wasn't ready for how much was happening right in that very moment.
Yeah.
And it was extremely powerful, you know, the things that I seen happen in my life firsthand.
Yeah.
And when you see God like that move in your life, I mean, you can't but acknowledge that there's a higher up, you know?
Right.
Oh yeah. And his timing is so crazy. You know, sometimes it happens so quickly and like, you know, pretty much just what we consider right on time, you know, oh, I just prayed for that and boom, look at that. Oh man, isn't God good? But it's usually the bigger things that takes a little stretching and a little, man, I've been praying for that for so long. Like, God, is it going to happen? Are you hearing me? Is my prayers even making it to you? Like, what am I doing wrong that my prayers aren't getting answered? But it's amazing to see God move in those ways. Like you said, you're just now seeing some prayers that you've been praying for so many years.
Yep.
And that's how he works, man.
Yeah.
He'll do
pretty
that.
amazing, man.
Yeah. And he'll show off. He'll say, oh, you forgot about that, but I didn't.
Well,
I
it
promised you
just
something.
boosts my faith.
Yeah.
You know, it boosts my faith to see, you know, and I try to tell these guys too, you know, when you're discipling them, you know, a lot of prayers just don't get answered just instantly.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, we have to be obedient. And that's my thing in this season, you know. I played around a little bit before, and I took this season on. It was really a challenge. I didn't really expect to have gone through what I've gone through, and having gone through it now, and kind of being on the other side, I've got some things working in my life that God brought me through when I first got here for the first year and a half to get me to this point. And now I've got some things going on in my life that I've been praying for personally. You know, I've wanted and desired for, you know, as we all have, because you two are very blessed in this area with godly women in your lives. And
oh, amen.
You know,
Yeah.
that's something that I've prayed for.
Yeah.
And it sure is amazing. And I've said it so many times in the last couple of months. It's been like, wow, the way that God moved in my life in that way, because something just got absolutely dropped into my lap and I wasn't even looking for it.
Right.
And it's just been a nice, slow pace.
Yeah.
And it's been absolutely amazing to get to know somebody that first and foremost, they put God in their life, the way that we've been taught. And then your husband or wife, and then your kids in that pecking order. And not a lot of people I've met really walk that out in their lives. And I've got a lot of examples of that are in my life right now for me to watch. Yeah. And that's important for me to see somebody walk out what they're preaching.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you know? Very much so. There's not enough of that now.
Right.
You know?
There's not. There's not.
You know, it's easy to say one thing, but it's hard to do it. Not only to do it in front of people, but to do it behind closed doors when nobody's watching.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, man, God, I'm still gonna hold steady to what I believe, stand firm on your word, even when nobody else is around. You know, and those are the hard things. We talked about that, you know, before, those hidden sins, man.
It is. We were just talking about that the other day.
Oh man,
you know?
It's so easy to fall into those things.
Yes, it is.
Because nobody around you holds you accountable because nobody knows about it.
Nope.
Right.
You know, so man, it's just awesome. So my next question, I'm weird. My mind's weird. If you,
Mine too.
You haven't known that yet.
Birds of a feather.
That's right. how many, because y'all, I wish we had the video up right now, but how many times have you ever been told you look like Stone Cold Steve Austin?
Well, that's a funny thing. Just like the mini-me version. I had a good friend of mine asked me if I'd ever shaved my head before when I was in Teen Challenge, just beginning my journey. And I still remember the gentleman's name. His name's Alex, and he's a minister at another Teen Challenge. And once he put a razor on my head, it was all over.
It was all over after that?
All over.
So what kind, did you know him when he had hair?
No,
okay.
He's never. Yeah,
I've seen pictures and that's it.
So what? It's so weird to think. Yeah, so what kind of hair? What was it? Curly? Did you have like a fro? Did you
no. Well, I mean, I battled with the fact that I was balding, and I kind of was like in this weird midlife crisis, and in my mid-30s, and I was like, I'm gonna let my hair grow out, and I had a shag. It had the Justin Bieber whip to it.
Oh, okay.
And most of my life, I always kept it short. I was in the Air Force, and
thank you for your service.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Thank you. And
I don't think
and I stayed at the barber shop. I was in Rich's chair every Saturday morning until I lost enough hair to where it wasn't worth going to see Rich anymore.
Right.
So.
Paying more than it's worth.
Yeah.
Come on now.
I love that barber time. I've
That's
cut Jeremiah for a little
Yeah.
time too. So
Okay.
I just took a liking. It's a way for. What I found in ministry is you got to find some outlets within, and cutting hair was always an outlet for me, because you can get personal with guys, and they open up to their barber. And a lot of times I find myself, when I get to know you, we can stop with the haircut. Next time we pick right up where we stopped in conversation the time before. And, I've been able to do that with a lot of guys, because a lot of guys haven't really got a softening of the heart yet and really open up and trust people. And when you I don't pry.
Yeah.
I just kind of pick a little bit, and I'll let them talk.
Yeah.
As you do in counseling, counseling's a lot of that same thing. And, I got to know Jeremiah pretty good, and he got to know me pretty well. And, all in all, man, I was just telling Jeremiah when he called me the other day after we got off the phone, I was so happy to be seeing him, because I think a lot of times we don't take into consideration the people that we have that are watching from a distance.
Yeah.
We just think it's people we have a day-to-day relationship with.
Yeah, that's good.
And there's a lot of people out there that are watching from a distance, and
you'd never know. You'd never know.
Yeah, you'd never know.
Yep.
And, I got some people that have been watching me, and, that was a lot of pressure my first time through.
I didn't like that.
Yeah.
I used to really resent that, cause I'm like, don't be looking at me.
Yeah.
Who am I? I ain't nobody. But I think over time you learn to appreciate that. And is what I've kind of gathered out of this is that people are looking for something real. Yeah. So when you come to them saying, man, I've had a real encounter with God, God has opened my heart. He's changed some things. I'm a new creation. And they want to know, is this dude for real? You know what I mean? And so, because you can stand there all day and tell them till you're blue in the face that you're changed, but unless you walk that out in front of them, it means nothing. Yeah. And I think that's what people are looking for, because I think there's a lot of people out there that are hurting. I know there's a lot of people that are lost. I know there's people that are just confused where they're at in their walk. They're like, man, I love God, but I don't know if I buy into all this. You know what I mean? And so they're really riding that fence, and they're just looking for someone to point them to something real. Yeah. And that's all we can really offer them. It's just that genuine change is taking place within us, and say, it's real because I'm living it.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially when it's people that know the old you, that know where you came from.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're the ones that are your biggest critics.
Yeah.
They're watching.
Yeah. We laugh about it because you don't know me from
back
before,
then.
man. Yeah. I'm telling you, I don't know that we'd be almost brothers if you'd have met me 10 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's all God. You know what I mean? It's all God, yeah, that's all I can say about that.
And and that's the beautiful thing about it is I always hear when non-believers, that's what they'll bring up. Well, they used to do this and they used to do that.
I did.
And they point it out as a bad thing. It's like, yeah, that's what's so great about God is that he takes these people that have just the worst people in the world and uses them for mighty things. It's like, that's what the Bible was.
You know, you think about it, you take a car that's just got a little fender bender, just, shopping cart hit it or something. You take it to a body shop and they make it look brand new. Wow. Okay. That's great. But you take a car that's, like an 85-mile-an-hour header into one of these, bridge embankments, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then you take that to a mechanic and he makes that thing showroom quality again. That's what God did in my life for sure. Yeah. I was that crumpled up heap demo car, you know what I mean? That's how bad I was. And God has restored me and restored my family and given, a wonderful wife. I've got kids now that I get to raise and just, man, it's just amazing, know? Because I was a mess.
So what would we call your elbow? Is that
you said Jordy, didn't you?
Yeah.
No,
is that like what is that? Is that like a rock in the window? So
I don't really know if that would be a chip or what.
Like it's getting big, is growing as we speak.
Yeah.
You see it? Like what is that?
What happened? Just a bruise? Did you hit it?
I think I hit it at one point, and then I golfed a lot. And then it's just like it's fluids building up on it and it won't stop. I've iced it. I've tried to take it easy for about a week now, and it just keeps coming back, man.
That's Jordy. That's
Jordy.
That's the third member to the Almost Brother. That's what I named. I said, I'm going to name your elbow Jordy.
I think I'm going to have to go get it drained. I really don't know. You want to touch it?
No. I know what it's going to feel like.
It's just like
he said
looks
last
like
week
one of those
cush balls.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we said.
The stress ball.
Yeah, the stress ball. That's exactly what it looks like.
If you squeeze it, little eyeballs pop.
It's so gnarly, man.
Man.
You definitely got to go. We're going to do a play-by-play of as he gets either worse or better. We're going to let all of our listeners know.
We'll keep you updated.
It's so crazy. Oh my gosh, it's so crazy. So you used to cut. So you still cut hair?
Yeah, I still cut hair.
You do that at
I do. I got a barber chair out in my shop.
Sweet.
And I take care of. I don't cut students anymore. The students have their own barbers, but I take care of a pretty good bit of the staff members there, and did last time, and they don't have to tell me what to do. I already know. I slide in there and make it look the same.
Yep.
Just like they want. So
I've got my own barber. I would let you, but I don't. Nobody touches.
Hey
this,
man,
okay?
I hear. Hey, when you find a barber, that's your barber. I had my barber for about 10 or 12 years, and I was in there every Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Nobody ever touched my hair but Rich.
That's right. Shout out to DA. Yeah. Love you, brother. I try not to put his name out there too much.
I got
because
you.
I don't want people taking up my time with him. Okay?
You need a convenience so when you want your haircut, you can get in there and get your haircut.
That's exactly right. I told him, I said, man, if I would have made it to the league, I would have brought you with me. You just cutting my hair from now on.
Yeah, that road barber.
That's exactly right, man. Yeah, he's awesome. But kind of like you said, that's a lot of our time to get to talk about God and
absolutely,
and just things going on in our life. So I love that relationship with him, man. He's awesome. We're gonna have him on eventually and talk about his battle with MS and
I got you,
and also his drug addictions and things like that he's through God has overcome. His story's pretty awesome, man. It's crazy just the things he's been through, but that's gonna be awesome. So how's everything going at Teen Challenge? How's everything? Y'all still at full capacity?
Yeah, everything's going well. It's been at times, with the COVID, it's something new. And our number one priority at Teen Challenge is the safety of the students, first and foremost. And, we've stayed in prayer on Psalms 91, as a ministry. And, we've just all collectively stayed in prayer that, whatever's going on, it always feels like we're on the hill, and then as soon as you pull off the hill, it's the world. I mean, it's that close, and we just pray that every precaution that we've taken, for the students, and that it doesn't get on the hill. And we've been very blessed as we typically are with everything.
Oh yeah,
that we haven't had anyone sick, thank God.
That's awesome.
And we took precautions at work details, and, everybody's, doing the same thing as we all are with masks and, social distancing and, washing hands and hand sanitizer. I think we all have a lot of the cleanest hands we've probably ever had. Mine are all dry.
Skin rubbing off your hand.
I had a nice cut this morning when I was out jogging. I fell down and I cut the palm of my hand, and I put on some hand sanitizer before I came in, and it did not feel too well.
A little spicy.
Yeah, a little spicy.
Spicy on the hand. Spicy. Oh, man. Yeah, but I remember when Jeremiah took me up there for the chapels. That was called for chapel. Man, that was
I remember when you came up
awesome.
there. It is. It's amazing.
My goodness, so cool.
Yeah, Jeremiah got to come up and see the remodel that we did. He hadn't seen that because we started it the end of January and wrapped it up. I guess it was probably sometime in March.
Yeah,
and it was just one of those things where we'd work on it for 5 or 6 days. Get it back to where, we could have worship and the word fed to us, and then get back on it, do another 5 or 6 days on it. Yeah. And it took a transformation. He was talking about the things that are brought out of you. And that's one thing about, our pastor, James Bolin, is a lot of times he sees that seed of greatness in you.
Yeah.
When you don't even know that you have it. I mean, he's been preaching on that here recently. We're all born with a seed of either destruction or greatness. Yeah. Which one are we feeding? Which one are we watering? Yeah. And right now, I began to see a harvest of blessings and in my own personal life, and I'm beginning to see the greatness. I guess you could say that he's often seen in me that I didn't see in myself. Yeah. And in the part of recovery where I'm at right now, I'm in a part of recovery that it's really hard to explain recovery to people, due to just some extenuating circumstances is what got me into the mess that I was in. I was in a vehicle accident in 2006 and broke my collarbone. And I got introduced to pain medicine, from a doctor. Yeah. And from that point on, that took everything from me. And it absolutely, when they say you just hit rock bottom, I was far beyond rock bottom. Yeah. And I wanted a new way. I knew the potential that I had. It's just that I had to be out of my environment that I was in, and I was afforded that opportunity. And I thank God that it wasn't close to home like some of these guys. I mean, I'm 455 miles away from my son one way. Yeah. And it's pretty amazing to see, the delivery that took place, with the prescription side of things, because that's a tough thing to get out of. And there are a lot of people that deal with that, and they don't even think about that being an addiction, because it's from your doctor. We all trust our doctor for our best, Yep.
It's because society has said it's okay. It's normal.
It is.
You feel pain, take some pills. Yep. Go to the doctor and get some pills. Like it's become normalized.
Yeah. Middle of September will be 6 years, since the last time I had a pain pill. And, it's, they always say you get a little bit of momentum. Yeah. You just need some momentum going in that positive direction and in that right direction. And that's all it took for me. God, just the way he's restored my mind is, it really blows me away every day. There were times, through addiction that I was like, man, I'm not the same person I used to be. Yeah. And now as I've come through that and 6 years on the other side, I really realize how smart that I am and how blessed I am and the gifts that God gave me.
Right.
And I didn't see those things, you know. You get blocked and numbed to all that, and you just get caught in that same savage cycle day in and day out. And 8 years later, you know, I just had a daughter graduate high school with honors. And she got a full scholarship, and she's going to pursue nursing school.
Nice.
You know,
that's awesome.
and follow her mother. And I couldn't be more proud of her. Now God's still working on restoration with that relationship.
Yeah.
But I've seen what He's done in my life, and I have no doubt that, you know, those prayers are going to be answered. She knows where my heart is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of took me off track and turned me a little bit into a person that I wasn't.
Yeah.
But everybody knew, you know, I've always had a big heart.
Right.
You know, God really worked on my heart and my mind here, and it helped me to put into perspective a lot of things that I took for granted, you know, for so many years.
Oh yeah.
And now I'm working on that to make all that better, to where I don't make those same decisions.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
It's good.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. My goodness.
I can relate to that.
I know that's what I was going to say.
Totally.
It's like, I think we all three of us can, you know.
I mean, because I think we all have prayers that are still unanswered. You know, I have my oldest daughter. I still don't get to see her like I'd like to, but I know, I know in my heart that that's going to be restored in God's timing, you know, when it's right. And, you know, there was a time whenever I was probably angry about that or upset about it, but I've got to a place now where I've, you know, accepted it for what it is. I trust God. I trust God's timing, and I know that He's going to turn it around the way that only He can. Yeah. You know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and it's that perfect timing of God that sometimes we just want to rush it.
Almost always want to rush it.
All the time. You're like, come on, God.
And then we step out and we do it in our own strength, and then we get mad at God when we fall flat on our face.
Yep.
Come on, you promised. Why'd you do this to me? You promised me this. It's like, yeah, but I didn't say it's time. You know, it's like, man, it's got to mold you and make you before He can send you out to do that.
I'm not a very patient person at all either, you know, so it's hard for me to just be still and wait.
I am very patient.
You are?
Yes. I'm so glad Jamie's not here.
He said yes. It's like waiting for the...
Absolutely.
That's something we all deal with, you know, I mean... we live in a very impatient world, you know. Everything is, you know, not only for the addict, it's now. It's just that's the society. That's how society is. That's how we live. Everything's just instant. We want it now. We want it now. And this lifestyle, it's not a right now. You know, I see now the things that I've been working and striving towards, and I'm starting to see the fruit of all that labor that you put in, because it's so endless sometimes, you know. It's long days. And through those long days, you get them sometimes a day thrown in there called an off day. But you still have so many obligations, because I'm the maintenance supervisor. So somebody's always knocking on the door about something.
You are in high demand. I do not envy his job.
That's what was the fun part is trying to get him like, well, what days
I can't believe you got him down here. I mean, in the middle of a week like this.
Yeah, we had a few obligations for tonight, but when Mike had told me what time you guys do the podcast, I said I can make that work. And still be back to campus and take care of some.
Be back in time for the peppers and onions.
Man, sausage and peppers.
Oh my God!
If you've been through TC, you know sausage and peppers.
Is that still a staple?
Tater tot casserole.
Oh my God!
That was two staples. I mean, everybody that's came through has remembered those two meals.
I don't know that I've ate a tater tot since.
I don't think I have either. It's been quite a while.
Oh man! I think they get those delivered by the semi truckload.
Yeah.
Just for one night.
Oh, man.
It's so funny. That's so awesome, man. It's awesome to see y'all two smiling together. And I know I got my episode with Richard, so I was like, man, I want to get. I was like, who can I get for Jeremiah?
Dude,
I was like,
awesome.
I know exactly who to get.
Man, thank you for doing that too.
Hey,
this,
you're welcome.
This is awesome.
You're
yeah,
welcome.
man, I really enjoyed myself.
Oh, yeah.
Really
I'm
enjoyed
glad you got
myself.
to
I
come
came
on.
in a little nervous, and then I got relaxed really quick.
Yeah.
you know?
That's about how every episode goes for me.
I got you. I was really dark because you were super comfortable.
Oh, yeah, he's cool as the other side of the pillow, man.
He's really.
Man, I can't wait till we get the video up because he's blushing right now so
Oh
badly.
my god! Just be stuck staring at the camera.
So let me ask you guys a question,
Yes,
if you don't
absolutely.
mind me
Absolutely.
asking. So, what took you guys into venturing into doing your own podcast?
Oh man, I knew we had kind of shuffled around and thought about. I know for me, it was about a month of thinking about it and like, man, I want to get this podcast going. I know people are stuck at home and it'd be a good way to get out God's word in a relaxed fashion, as opposed to, a lot of people aren't going to go on and watch a message beginning to end online. You either go to church for that or you're just looking for some kind of commentary while you're on the way to work or something like that. So I was kind of juggling it around and like, man, I really want to start this, but I didn't want to do it solo. I could do my own solo thing, but I was like, man, I'd really like to have somebody on here. So I just started praying about it. And me and Jeremiah were talking about, when I got into the media here at the Lighthouse and we started talking, I was like, hey man, how do you feel about doing a podcast together? He's like, oh man, that sounds awesome. That'd be so much fun. And then from there, a couple weeks and we were ready to go, and having a pastor like Pastor Tim that had our back and that, hey, whatever y'all need, like, let's get it. Let's, get it going so that, you can get it out. And man, it's been a blessing and just kind of, and it started out like that where we were just real, like first episode, we're just kind of fumbling around, like not really knowing what to do.
And he's like, we're going to talk about you. I'm like, oh, great. Great.
Yeah.
That's a great way to start. Put me in a hot seat.
So Jeremiah, tell us about yourself. He's like, I'm Jeremiah.
I like turtles. Yeah, we really didn't know what we were going to do. We just knew that God had told us to do it, and it's like, just step out in faith, start doing it. And we just kind of figured it out on the fly.
Yeah.
He figured out most of it with all this board and stuff and sound effects that make me look silly and all that.
Oh my goodness. A lot of YouTube videos and
He's just a cleaner Howard Stern version.
that's exactly right. Yeah. And less curly hair.
It was funny how it all started because I remember we were up here talking about it and I was like, yeah, that'd be great. And that's a great idea, thinking that might not happen, and then like you said, Pastor Tim was like, here's the equipment, here's the stuff you need. Let's, do it. And it's like, man, you don't have time to think about it. It was just like, and I think that's how God works sometimes, when he puts something together for you and gives you that vision, then he provides for it just like that. It doesn't give you time to think about it.
Yeah. And especially
I've loved doing it, man. We've had so
fun.
much fun with it.
I can see it.
Oh man, it's a blast. That's what we were like, man, we're doing it twice a week. It's like, man, I wouldn't mind doing it 3-4 times a week, but it, we have other jobs that we have to get done. So, I guess, but it's just been so fun, and I'm so excited. We surpassed a couple weeks ago. We surpassed 1,000 downloads.
Okay.
Within our first month and a half, something like that. So,
all right,
it's awesome, man. It's been a blessing, and I've gotten a few phone calls from buddies that we don't go to church with that really aren't in our everyday lives, and one from college and one from like church camp, and they live a good deal away. They're like, man, I listen to your podcast and it's really helped me out, man. I'm going through some tough times and just listening to it. So hearing those stories really like brings it alive. Like, man, let's go. Like, I'm so excited. Yep. So just knowing that it's touching people is the biggest thing, so it's so exciting. And like I said, we can't thank Pastor Tim and our church for having our back and supporting us, which most of this stuff we bought for ourselves, to be able to do it. But the big parts, our church has provided it for us. Like, hey, here's the stuff. Go. We believe in y'all, go forth and do it. So It's been a blessing, man, being able to do it. And just, I couldn't have picked a better a better partner to do it with. That's why I told him, like, there's been a few times where I wanted to record, and it's like, I'm not recording without you here. Like, I'm just not. Like, so I got to have you here. So it was with the kids, like a few youth was here, and they're like, oh, we want to record an episode. I'm like, all right, well, let's go. Hooked them up and started going. Like, they were serious with it. I'm like, hold up. Y'all are going to be serious. Like, let's do a real episode. Jeremiah, where you at? He's like, I'm at home. It's like, how quick can you get to the church? He's like, I'll get there right now. Came up and we did an episode just right there on the fly, you know? So, man, it's been so fun. I'm so excited.
Well, I think a lot of times, you know, people are seeking a relationship with the Lord and they don't have one. They have this false misperception that we as believers and Christians, we live this absolutely perfect and flawed life.
Yeah.
And that couldn't not be more untrue.
Yeah.
You know, it's life, you know. We're going to face things. We face things daily, but it's in how we respond. You know, that's what I'm working on right now a lot, is the way that I respond in every situation. And my life is at times, for very long portions of life, it seemed like, was a roller coaster. You know, it's just up and down, up and down, up and down. And I just looked for in this season just to get leveled out, you know, and have what Pastor was saying the other day. We just need to have balance in our life. And I've been off balance. And a lot of times I didn't know why I was off balance. And he's been on a series, the mind, body, and soul, and how we have to be, all those have to be in balance.
Yeah.
And it's, hey, I've taken a lot of notes. If you're part of any of his sermons, I mean, he's got some good word in there.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of things that just really stuck to me that made me think, you know, this is why this has been this way. 'Cause I've been a little too much this way, and I've been a little too much that way. And I think we all have been in life, you know, and I feel like I'm finally, that boat's kind of balancing out. And it feels really good to get to that point, 'cause it's taken a lot of hard work, a lot of hard work.
Oh yeah.
And I'm thankful for being stretched in the season that I'm in right now, because like I said, I made it out of, you know, we talk to these guys about seasons, and they often don't understand seasons, because seasons can be so short, and then some seasons can be so long. Yeah. And, you know, since I've been back, I've been through a couple of seasons, and July 31st made 2 years since I stepped foot back in the door. And, you know, it seems like yesterday, because I was at the Lake of the Ozarks hanging out, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, I got a phone call, and, you know, God had put me on someone's heart, and they were reaching out to me, and I was struggling. I was getting depressed again, because I had no purpose,
right?
You know, and I was starting to slip off into depression a little bit, and it was like God spoke to her at the absolute most perfect time, because there was so much going on in my heart and my mind at that moment. I was trying to figure out what I was going to do. Yeah. And I think me and Jeremiah were kind of both at a crossroads, you know, in our lives, where that's what we were both seeking.
We were
both
uncomfortable.
Well,
we'd talked about moving in together into some things. We were trying to make some things happen, and no doors were opening.
We were trying to make things happen.
And it's like we kept hitting brick walls. And looking back on that, I understand totally why we were hitting those walls, you know.
You know, but he got blessed in that season and had met Missy, I don't know, maybe 6 months prior to that, about Christmas, before Christmas time.
Yeah,
when you were still at Teen Challenge.
Yeah. We started talking there, and when I left there in February, we started talking and dating and stuff like that.
And as soon as I met Missy, I mean, you can just tell Missy's the real deal. I mean, she's an amazing person.
Yeah. Jeremy's like, you don't mess this up, dude.
No,
don't mess this up.
Don't do it.
Just look at him like, don't mess it up.
Don't you dare. She wasn't going to let that happen, though, you know. Yeah. Missy's an amazing woman.
Absolutely.
And
she'd have to be to deal with
Oh yeah.
You know,
Patience of Job.
Oh, yes, yes.
we don't always just look to other men, that for the example to be and to set the example, because a lot of times, there's women out there that are some pretty godly women. I had some godly women pray me into the program before I ever had a relationship with the Lord. I've never been in church and nothing, prior to coming to Teen Challenge. And had it not been for those prayer warriors, those women of God, that behind the scenes were praying for me and didn't even let me know they were praying for me.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm thankful for that, because there's a lot of guys that had that same very thing happen, and they had loved ones that just would not give up on them.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I was given up on by a lot of my family.
Oh, yeah.
But then I had a lot of people that just loved me unconditionally.
Yeah.
And that's all I sought, I mean, I just wanted to be loved unconditionally, and there was a couple people that showed me that. And through this whole thing, I've met a lot of people that are like that just have the biggest hearts, that see so much in you.
Yeah.
When you're broken and you don't see it in yourself, and they're just there every day, encouraging the whole time, praying with you. And then they get that gratification out of seeing you reach that point where they knew,
Yeah.
they knew you could get to that point, and we didn't. And, I'm extremely thankful for those people, because now what that's done in turn is my mother, just a quick story, back in March, she got COVID.
Yeah.
And she works at a hospital. She works at the main desk, and there was a fear that I had a little bit that, my mother's 62, that working in a hospital, there's probably a pretty good chance she had a couple underlying health issues, and I was concerned for her. She called me one morning at 10 o'clock, and by 1:30 they had her admitted. She was positive. And it is really, really just a blessing the way she told me what happened. She has rheumatoid arthritis, and they treated her rheumatoid with pain medication for years, just for her to manage it.
Yeah.
And she didn't like the way that the pain meds made her feel. So they started to treat her rheumatoid with hydroxychloroquine.
Mm-hmm.
And when they did, they said that since that was already in her body, that may be the reason why she only experienced just a few short days in the very beginning,
Right.
with some breathing and things of that nature. So long story short, when she got home, she picked up a Bible.
Oh, wow.
And,
Yeah.
it was pretty amazing. And, that's a relationship that God has definitely worked on in my life. And it's just gotten better every time I go back to Georgia. It just gets better and stronger, like it was before. But a lot of it was me.
Yeah.
And I pointed the finger, thinking that a lot of it was her, and it was just 95% of it was me.
Right.
I mean, I was just not a good person to be around, and I didn't even like myself.
Yeah.
And now fast forward 6 years, and I love myself.
Right.
So
Pretty fun.
I do. I love myself.
Kind of like me.
Yeah.
Wake up every morning, look in the mirror, like, pretty awesome.
Great hair.
Me, my hair.
It is spiritual.
I wish I had some tall hair, man.
The taller it is, the closer to heaven, baby.
I like it.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, any final thoughts from either one?
Man, I don't know. You got anything?
No, I'm just thank you for having me, up today to visit you guys. Kind of unexpected, and I didn't really know what was going to happen, but it's been really cool to be a part of this and seeing it grow for you guys the way that it's grown. And I've only had the luxury of being able to meet your guys' Pastor Tim. One time I met him September of last year. And just a very, very amazing man.
Yeah.
Just to see, we're all men. None of us are not subject to just anything happening in our lives. I mean, life happens.
Yeah.
And it's all about how we rebound and how we pick ourselves back up, and we don't wallow in the self-pity. And, you know, that's one thing I've realized. We're going to get knocked down, and I got back up.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's other guys that do the exact same thing. They get knocked down. We talked about it's the way you pick yourself back up.
That's right.
And it's so important to bounce back and let other people see, because, hey, we've got a whole world of them out there doing it right now.
Yeah.
You know?
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, and it's those that have been through it that can go out and say, look, I know
Yep.
where you're at. I've
Yep.
been there. I was
Yep.
right there where you're at. Like, let's go. God loves you
yep,
right where you're at. He's not okay with what you're doing,
yep,
but I've been there. You know, that those are the ones that change the world, that make people see, oh man, God does love me. God does have a plan for my life. Look what he's doing for so-and-so, you know? So, we get so upset, or we look at people with those pasts and with those backgrounds, and we look at them in such a bad light, but it really is those that are such an example for God's love and his grace and his mercy, being able to use those people. Like I said, the Bible is from front to back is full of them.
all those examples.
Every single
Yep.
one, you know, every crazy miracle that he did, it usually started with a person that was completely broken.
Yep.
You know, so be that person. You may be broken right now, but let God put those pieces back together.
Yes,
That's right.
because he will.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, man, hey, I just want to thank you, Michael, for bringing my homeboy up here. My goodness, I'm telling you, I was absolutely blown away. I was sitting here and I felt somebody grab my shoulders. Like, what is going on? Man, it's been a blessing. I mean, it's awesome, dude. I can't even put it into words right now. But hey, we just want to thank everybody for joining us. Remember, if you don't have a home church, come check us out at the Lighthouse in Dexter. 8:30 outside, south side of the parking lot under the tent. 10 o'clock inside. We love y'all.
And that's the bottom line, because JC said so.